This video is helpfully split into two parts. The first chapter is the history of the mine and explains a little about what FIRECLAY is. The second chapter is the full abandoned mine exploration. Skip to this time code if you only want to watch the exploration. When you imagine an abandoned mine, there is not one generic visual that forms for us all. Of course, there is a universal dark, damp tunnel, but depending on the type of resource you are mining and where you are in the world, an abandoned mine can look very different. For the purposes of this video, we are going to talk about a mine which is situated in North Lanarkshire in Scotland, and currently snakes its way underneath a popular country park. The footage included in the documentary was filmed by a friend who has taken it upon himself to visit the remains of the clay mine for the purposes of recording the artefacts and deterioration that has occurred since its closure in 1969. I do not suggest attempting to find the entry location. Recently, in the winter of 2023, another section of the mine shaft has collapsed from the heavy rain. Soon, the entrance to this part of the mine, which is itself already a collapsed tunnel, and the rest of this section will be reduced to rubble and mud. Climbing in and around decaying structures is extremely risky and can be fatal. Under no circumstances should anyone enter or walk close to the mine. Our information for this location comes from Scottish Brick History and North Lanarkshire Council. A link to their websites is included in the description. The business that ran the mine was called the Cumbernauld FIRECLAY Company. At the time, this area was not the concrete new town we see today. It was in fact Cumbernauld Village and then a selection of farms scattered across the rolling hills and woodland. Glencryan farm was the closest to the mine, the ruins of which are still accessible as of 2023. I made a video on this topic, which will also be linked in the description. The reason that it's important to note the landscape is that it's extremely hard for some people to separate the sprawling urban homes and businesses of Cumbernauld from its rural industrial past. It's like asking a tourist visiting Glasgow to imagine the busy city as just a few rows of fishing houses on the edge of the River Clyde. The difference in the way of life and the priorities people had back then is almost inconceivable. The Cumbernauld FIRECLAY Company was founded in 1874, 150 years ago, by James Wallace and Matthew Goodwin. The brickworks were built beside the Caledonian Railway with FIRECLAY taken from Abram Hill. In 1882, the works were then sold for £4,000 to the newly formed Glenboig Union FIRECLAY Company under James Donachie. In current monetary terms, that's a sale price of around £612,000. Mr. Donachie must have been extremely pleased with his purchase, as the shareholders were told that Cumbernauld possesses a clay field practically inexhaustible and of unapproachable quality. 3 years before the sale, the price had been reduced. An advert was placed in the Glasgow Herald which read, The valuable and extensive FIRECLAY works, situated at the south and southeast of the Caledonian Railway at Cumbernauld Station, and within 13 miles of Glasgow, with the whole machinery, steam engine plant, mineral lease and manager's house. The works, which are of a modern construction and have all the latest improvements, are ready for immediate operation and are capable of turning out bricks and all classes of FIRECLAY goods of superior quality. The proprietors have expended on the works of upward £11,000, but to ensure a sale, they will be exposed at the low reduced upset price of £2,500. The next media mention of the FIRECLAY mine was in 1891, when an objection was lodged against a pub being built at Cumbernauld Railway Station, just a stone's throw from the main mine and brickworks. Part of the article from the Kirkintilloch Herald reads, Mr. Robert Chapman applied for a public house licence at Cumbernauld Station. Mr. Walk appeared in support of an objection by the Glenboig FIRECLAY Company, who did not wish a public house so near to their works as a temptation to their men. Mr. Walk maintained that the directors had repeatedly considered the matter. The works happened to be managed by Mr. Thomas Dunnocky, an ex-teetotal lecturer. Mr. Walk merely represented Mr. Dunnocky, who seemed to have returned to his old occupation. 32 people voted to refuse the pub being established, 11 to grant it, and 5 declined to vote at all. You see, at the time, there were few pubs out with the little villages, and the collection of houses close to the railway formed barely a hamlet. The Spur and the Bull in Cumbernauld village were a long 2-mile walk from the proposed site at the rail station. Beyond that, the hotel in Castle Carey was 3.5 miles away. They all required a sturdy hike through the glen, woods, fields and farm tracts of a sparse community. The fact that a licensed building to serve alcohol was refused meant that life carried on in the same way it had done for centuries in the area, except for the progression of the FIRECLAY mine and brickworks growing up around the rail station. The station had been built in 1848, less than 30 years before the mine was operational. With no social reason to congregate in the area outside of working hours, the valley with the Caledonian Railway remained industrial, while the farmsteads and cottages on Palace-Rig Hill remained agricultural. The mine bridged the two when its prominent entrance and tramway was created to run through the heart of Glencryan woodland, which is adjacent to Palace-Rig. When I moved to Cumbernauld in 2012, there was a wooden sign and steps that had been placed so that visitors to the country park could learn about the mine and look at the various remains of equipment close to the lade, reservoir and entrance tunnel. This sign rotted away and has not been replaced. However, you can still safely view the outside of the mine, which has been closed off and secured with metal bars to prevent anyone getting inside. This is not the place where our main documentary film was taken. This official entrance by the lade is flooded, dangerous and impossible to pass, even if you did get past the security measures. So now we need to look at how a FIRECLAY mine is set up. What exactly is FIRECLAY and why is it important? In the area of Glencryan, there was already an ancient stone quarry recorded on historic maps. If you're so inclined, it can be easily found, although the rock face is now a mass of ferns, moss and vines. Mining in this location was not a new industry. However, it was an extremely harsh and unrewarding job 400 years ago. Imagine walking into the woodland on a cold, rainy day, chipping away in all weathers at an exposed rock wall, just to get enough stone to build a sheep pen, repair your house or build a well. Comparatively, FIRECLAY mining underground centuries later was easier due to the fact that it was regulated, you were out of the elements and you got paid for your day's work. But as any miner or ex-miner will tell you, there is nothing easy about going down into the pits. Summerlee Museum in Coatbridge has a wealth of mining information and artefacts. It's free entry for everyone and well worth a visit. FIRECLAY is a range of refractory clay used in the manufacture of ceramics, especially fire brick. This material is used when lining furnaces, kilns, fireboxes and fireplaces. A refractory brick is built primarily to withstand high temperature, but will also normally have a low thermal conductivity for greater energy efficiency. Usually, dense fire bricks are used in applications with extreme mechanical, chemical or thermal stresses, such as in the inside of a wood-fired kiln or a furnace. At a time when coal and wood fires were the source of heating for domestic and commercial properties, and industrial furnaces were on the rise, FIRECLAY was a sought-after resource. High-grade FIRECLAYs can withstand temperatures of 1,775 degrees, but to be referred to as a FIRECLAY, the material must withstand a minimum temperature of 1,515 degrees. When you look at the composition of the clays, they consist of the same set of natural material with fine-grained micas and quartz running through them, and they may also contain organic matter and sulfur compounds. In short, all of these things exist in Glencryan, Palace Rig and Abram Hill. You can even frequently find loose pebbles of white and rose quartz or stones with mica seams running through them just laying on the path or bogland. Now to the main event, the mine itself. We can see from records that the miners were paid for the amount they hauled out of the ground, not on a salary per day. Clay mines were always located close to the brickworks so that the precious material could be quickly transported by a bogie along the tramway before drying out. Then it was put onto the benches at the brickworks by a person called a bencher. To prepare it for the moulder to shape it into the brick moulds ready to be handed to the maker and baked in the giant kiln. The finished product was a stack of hard tempered bricks ready to be shipped off all over the United Kingdom. The final stages of the operation in the brickworks had their dangers, but none so risky as the miners themselves who were extracting the clay deep underground and filling up the hutches. A man called Hexie Fowler recalls his first day down a clay mine at Garlitston in 1947. You get a pure fright when going down in the cage. The winding engine man thinks he's nearer the bottom than he is, so when he puts the brake on, it jolts and you're hanging on for grim death. The first time I heard shots going off, I was feared for my life. The shots he mentioned are Gelignite, a type of explosive used by shot firers in the depths of the clay mines. By the 20th century, this was the method used due to the sheer power and speed that a seam of clay could be revealed and mined. However, for centuries prior to explosives, a simple mining method of digging into the side of hills and mountains to form a tunnel and then manually following the seam, digging out the clay as you go, was most common. Clay mining was a global prehistoric practice, and the large-scale mining operations we saw developing during the Industrial Revolution era in the UK are merely a progression of this ancient technique. In 1909, 4 miners died after an underground roof fall in the Star Pit at Glenboig, just along from Cumbernauld. A group of 5 miners were firing shots to remove a stoop and clay, and after the blast, they continued to prepare for a further shot firing when the roof fell in, trapping 4 of them. The 5th man was able to escape along with the pit pony. A further fall prevented any help being given to the 4 trapped men, who were later found dead. These tragedies were unfortunately common in small mining communities and had a huge impact on everyone for years to come. A further tragedy occurred just a year later in 1910, when clay miner Vinces Pottery placed 5 pounds of Gelignite on the hob of his fireplace at home to soften it. The Gelignite exploded, killing 4 people and injuring 8 others, as well as wrecking the houses next door. Luckily, Vinces was unharmed, but he was charged with culpable homicide. Amazingly, he was found not guilty on the grounds that it was normal practice to heat the explosive to soften it, although it was usually done in the workplace. The jury recommended that the Glenboig Union FIRECLAY Company enforce more strict control on handling explosives. You may have picked up on the phrase stoop and clay earlier mentioned. This refers to how the mines were set up. In Jamie's exploration video, you will see the last remains of some of Glencryan's stoops. This word comes from stoping, which is the process of extracting the desired ore or mineral from an underground mine, leaving behind an open space known as a stope. This method is used when the bedrock in a location is sufficiently strong enough not to collapse in the stope area. The best example of this is looking at the ceiling of the mine exploration video. You'll see near where the tunnel has collapsed at the entrance, there is muddy shale, rock and sandstone. However, when Jamie and the boys move further into the mine, the rock on the ceiling is hard and grey. Most of North Lanarkshire and the surrounding Campsie Fells were formed millions of years ago through volcanic lava flows. Even Edinburgh Castle to the east sits on top of an extinct volcano. This igneous rock is extremely hard. You can see through this the quartz crystals found on the paths up and around Glencryan. Then, during the Ice Age, North Lanarkshire was buried under a giant sheet of ice 1 kilometre thick. Lower limestone, sandstone and mudstone formations also make up the geology of the area, and these unstable sedimentary rocks are the weak points in the mine shafts and tunnels. These soft rocks are most likely to be permeated by floodwater, dissolve, split and then crack. Now, back to my introduction to the video. When you imagine an abandoned mine, there is not one generic visual that forms for us all. Scottish coal mining and clay mining took place out of necessity, and therefore the most efficient production methods were put in place for the mine owners to become profitable. If we look at the way a typical metal mine was set up in many parts of Western America, the image of a square entrance propped up with wooden poles and a tram track leading down various tunnels is the generic trope used by cartoons and blockbuster movies. Large mine carts big enough for 2 people to sit in, a network of well-ventilated tunnels, most of which you could stand up in, and of course, the miner with his pickaxe chipping away at the rock with his trusty lantern by his side. Stoop mining in Scotland and other parts of the UK was nothing like this. Because the miners were paid per hutch load of material, they saw no point in wasting time making tunnels wide enough or tall enough to stand in. All they needed was space for the small wooden hutches and enough room to manoeuvre 1 or 2 men or even children down a tunnel. It was not uncommon to see miners for both clay and coal bent over or crawling on their bellies to reach the furthest seam. On a recent visit to Summerlee Museum of Industrial Life, we were told that men could crawl for over a mile to reach their seam, dragging themselves over broken rocks and mud. Miners in the late 1800s spent nearly all day underground, and they developed eyesight issues due to never seeing daylight. Their bodies were scarred from cuts being exposed to mud and mineral dust. They were brave men who would do anything to make money for their families. In 1902, it was reported that the Glenboig FIRECLAY Company's Cumbernauld employees are at present in variance with the masters. Up to the present, the employers have provided the drawing, but they now desire the men to do their own drawing and to give the men as an equivalent as an advance of 3 pence per tonne. An average darg on which the men are paid is about 5 tonnes per day, and this advance would not, the men state, pay the draws. The men worked until Wednesday in the hope of a settlement and then lifted their graith when there seemed no likelihood of a satisfactory arrangement. Strikes were a common feature of working life in the clay mines. 2 years previously, in 1900, the miners were refused a request for an increase in wages, which led to them working 4 days a week instead of 6. After 4 long months, they began a total strike, by which time 400 men had been laid off. The owner, James Dunnicky, used the services of strikebreaker Scott Hunter from Glasgow, who enlisted 70 men to take over the running of the works, and after a few weeks the strike ended and the men went back to mining. When you see the brick-lined walls of the mine and the heavy machinery left to rust in the eerie dark tunnels, just remember that the mine closed in approximately 1969 after nearly 100 years of back-breaking work and improvements. Today, on the surface, you will see remnants of a steel wire rope that was used to draw the hutches up from the pit onto the tramway. You'll see other reminders of Glencryan's industrial past, but you won't see the grid of tunnels beneath your feet. You won't hear the booming explosions or the shouts of the hard-working men hauling the clay to the surface. You'll walk the neat paths and trails marked out for the country park without realising that half of them were created a century ago just to connect the mine to the brickworks in the valley by the rail station. Glencryan Mine is a special place, and the woodland is full of history. We hope you enjoy this fascinating tour of just one small section of the abandoned clay mine.
Alright, mate. instead of that mound, wasn't it? There we go. There it's there. It's warm already. We should just plough on into the cart. That's where it all starts getting good, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's where we've moved in before.
No, this one doesn't know what it is. It's like a plate of metal. Look, Castle Carry, bro. There's another mine there, Castle Carey. See like chisel marks?
Yeah.
Where that was?
Alright.
They look fresh. Aye. This is better. Look why that's so blocked up. That's a good sign. Another way out. He's doing pictures.
Scottish cave explorers. I don't think it's been a cave then. I think it's just doing that because they're a big hole there.
No, you think?
What?
You don't think? Oh, this bit's wetter than normal.
Aye.
That's a bad sign for the actual wet bit. Jamie's bag's got to cause the collapse. See sparks there.
Good.
That looks a bit daunting, eh?
Aye, that's no looking. Okay.
Jamie, what's your bag on these?
Aye. These just feel a bit bigger.
What is that? Wire. The hose. Glenboig brick. Ouch, that was the heat. These ones feel better, eh?
Aye.
I can see the cart. See it? Oh, grafting. Like that. Hey, look, they're a pair of shoes.
Wish I don't know waterproof cloth for me.
I think that's something else's exploration at now.
Can't say that. Building.
You got touch on it.
That's an old shoe.
Right, we'll go in and see this first, right? I would advise taking your backpacks off for getting through this. You want a video of this bit, yeah, this bit's cool. But you maybe take your backpack off because we'll pull the roof down. Aye.
There, put it there. Okay.
There the wheel screws, mate, I thought maybe we could get one in it. Look at the size of them. You're never even moving them.
No.
I think the Incredible Hulk must have been in. Hey, bad boys. We were like, I'd like to take one. This is where I would come if there was a collapse tied in here. I think you'd be alright till you got found. Lie under in there. It's probably the other side.
This is pulling all the chains.
Guessing, Have you ever looked in this bin? Nothing. It's amazing. What? Somebody's left money. Bar. No bar in Brewland. Somebody's been in, because that was a lantern, it was all together.
Bits missing.
Look, check them out. Navy cut cigarettes. They were in good nick. Somebody's been here and that wasn't up there. Somebody's been in.
Oh, I think they've been taking stuff, haven't they?
No, you're not meant to take it unless it's gold.
Look at the hook.
I guess it's a dead end, this bit. I bet you these were dynamite tubs.
Aye. Well, there's one there.
What? Actually, oh, that thing's rotten. You can't even touch it. I'd love to see if there's a label somewhere. There's a label. It looks too rotten to touch. It's got nothing on it.
Probably was. That's a good thing, isn't it?
Anyway. Just in case. It's hidden.
I bet that's another, that must be another entrance that's been blocked off. Because all these pipes, there would have been cables coming through these pipes
Aye.
to pull.
What even is that? It looks like, is it a big boiler or something in there?
Big can.
There's sand in there, one, look at it, big tank. Needing a ladder?
I don't want to.
Aye, it was, aye. Sun.
Many people go for life from here, eh?
Probably, aye. Oh, look at this. Kicking up silt stuff before you even get to it. That's just fear. That's your fear. When you're sitting at the water.
No, it's interesting. Look at this.
At least we can see the tracks. I'm going to say right now we ain't getting through. Unless it's the roof coming down and no the water going up.
How far can you see?
I'm alright now. I would like backup, but
I feel the pressure in that water.
same.
Hey, if you're in this water, you're not going to come over. Fucking hell, I'm looking for
That'll be a good video seeing. But it's not as deep as you think. See when I look at you, I think it's alright.
You get guys, man. You're right here, we're right up the construction down there.
Aye. At least I know they don't leak.
I just don't want my light going in the water. Same. It's getting shallower. It's getting shallower.
Pretty safe rock here, but
That looks better, eh?
still sort of sandstone.
It's better than that other crumbly looking shit.
What for the few runs headed past there? A few runs headed to the room there.
can see land.
What's that?
There's land.
Look at that. That's from the water.
Pumping. That'll be for pumping, isn't it? Oh, some cunt's been here, eh?
That's why that's attractive. They're a big can, hang on. See it? Oh shit. It just halved. That's the big motors, the big pulleys. I would like to get past this. See? There's a lot of weight in that.
Oh, there's a lot of weight. Push me into the mud.
That collapse here.
I know, but if it in collapse would be.
Look up there, can you see far up?
Menzies, like, what does that say?
Scotland.
How far can you see up there, Jamie? Let's see if it collapsed in.
I don't.
It does look.
I'd like to get past this thing. I've got to take my bag off and come back with it.
You can be up this way then. Right.
It's pretty hard because you're trying to duck and you're sinking. Then another 9 cat. This stuff's not been touched for years, is it? That's
Crack pipe?
really?
Nah. Look at that, oh, that's a collar.
The dog?
No, guy's collar.
That's a deep bit. Land. I found land again. Land. Oh, come here, look. This is cool looking. We found another line or something.
Well, this is another line to go back down to the English.
Maybe an easier way.
What?
Maybe an easier way back.
Or another way back down to the road.
So, probably stick to the main one, eh?
Aye.
Like, keep going up. But
That's not the main bit as well. That looks big.
I need to go see. Look, there's another wall. What the? Just blocked up. Blocked off. You think? Think the main drag looks dry on there?
I don't know, this looks quite good and all, but
It looks
that
minky.
is,
That looks minky. Nah, no chance. Maybe than that.
stuck in there.
Definitely with no rails.
Look at that, that's quite deep there. is the bottom of it. Like that.
That big boulder as well. What is the matter? That's not washing down, that's bouffing, man. Heading back. At least the way here I could see my feet.
Aye. I don't know what you're doing. Flashbacks. How many times have you doubled in this?
Huh?
You did a bit of damage with.
Would have been taking their heads off the roof.
What?
Their heads would be on the roof.
You just followed it all the way through it.
Don't think you're meant to be here, Ellen.
What?
Someone tells me you're not meant to be in here.
Thank God you're thankful, Mum. You wait till it's exciting and you can wash it in. Rain coming in the house.
Same.
You see the dry marks inside? I think the dry marks, the watermarks.
But where it's been up?
You know?
Water's nice and refreshing.
It's been cold on the legs. Oh, watch, there's a trapper here. Oh. I tried, I went so far, I went, aye, right. I went a bit meter. There's a battery.
That's an up to date.
Alright, this is it. This is the old minecart.
Must be how it's a fella.
No, I've got to see the other room. Right, yes, this place is nuts. Bastards! We've took the wrong turn. It's another, it's the other one. What is that? I turned in too late. Normally we're in that side, but the door's back that way. Oh, it's decent. But there's like kilns up there or something. Kilns, I think it is. Fireplace type things. Furnaces, rather. Watch your bags on the roof. There we go. The butter's down there. Right, I've got to go this way first. This is where the kiln is. Right, machinery bits. I'm thinking that's maybe where they fired them. Must have been where they fired them. Can't even read them.
Must be a chimney.
Is that a big bit of coal?
Yeah, this is all front cool.
There was a big factory and it had like big chimney stacks. I wonder if it was above us. Got to just take a peek. I don't want to go too far in here. Nah, it looks shit anyway.
Yeah, I can't see what happens.
Aye, right.
There's nails anyway. These pipes must lead to that engine room. Again?
Oh, aye, that's right. There we were.
They're clay pipes. FIRECLAY. That'll be for pumping the water out, Betty.
Another spade. And an old can. Spades everywhere, look. Needing any, Jamie?
Don't get to last long.
Aye. I'll be back in a second, I just want to see. What's that in there, is it? Water?
Oh, that's not just
Let's go back. No, we've been here, that's the last time. No man, she better be here. That looks sturdy. Should get crews to do a picture with you in it, so that it's people actually see you in it. Ears up a bit.
Into that. I'll go up a wee bit more. I'll look mine in this one.
Right. I would love to make it to the exit.
What?
Yeah, I'd love to make it to the exit. Like the original.
Aye, the back.
Huh? We don't really know. We don't really know, we've never really been as far. I think I can feel air, but I think yours is back going. Oh, near water. don't know, it's feeling, it's descending quick.
A bit.
I've got to go feel in a bit and see.
Top that, I'll do
Who's got the big beaming torch? That looks, wouldn't help.
Oh, that's all
There's
way up.
miles of water, look at that. We're defeated.
Get him up now.
Right, lights off.
You would never find it like it.
Aye, we fucked. We need to crawl.
I've got to to get anyway, so.
Aye. Ah, it feels safe again, eh? Even though it probably isn't, eh? Probably be putting these boys will be fixing the bar.